The following live broadcast is rated ESVPG. Lots of stuff can be discussed, so we don't know what's going to happen. Good evening. On tonight's show, we're going to be talking about several different things, including, of course, trying to get other people to understand your position in life as well as you understanding theirs when you try to push them in certain directions. And also, what is progress? Things I want to discuss. But it's not just about what I want to discuss, what people on the panel want to discuss. It's about what you want to discuss. So anything you come up with, anything on your mind, any topic you want us to discuss with you, please bring it up. Other than that, just enjoy the show. You guys all ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right, me too.
Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. Gather together, always together.
Good evening. Welcome to another open forum here at Ear Shoulder Voice. We're glad to have you here tonight. First, I want to, of course, ask everybody in the chat right now, how you doing? Please let us know. We're very interested in that. While you're here, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow Ear Shoulder Voice on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We're on all of those. And you can also chat live during the show. We'll respond to everything you say that we can get to. So feel free to discuss anything you want. Good, bad, happy, sad. We're here for all of it. And you can also call into the show anytime by going to earshouldervoice.com/join. And you can actually become a panelist on the broadcast, or you can join by just audio if you want to, if you don't want your image on there, you don't want to be by camera. But of course, to discuss everything on our minds and what's going on, we can't do that without a panel to discuss it with, so let's bring them in. Of course, the first thing I want to discuss before that panel is the one thing that has not come back since this pandemic is internet connections. They are still slow for a lot of people, so please bear with us as we work through those. But let's bring in our first panelist. Please welcome Anthony.
How are you doing?
From another country now, huh?
Yep, from across the river.
Across the river. So you're in Canada finally, and you're still on the show. Glad to have you here. So how has it been?
Oh, just great, eh?
Just great. You're already picking up that Canadian accent, eh?
Oh, you have to. You have to, bud.
I don't understand that.
No, it's not bad. I mean, everything's still pretty much closed Friday. They just opened up outdoor dining.
Does it feel any different over there than it did over in the U.S.?
Not really.
That's
It's
good.
about the same. You've got the people who take it very seriously, and then you've got the people who are more laid back about it. I think the government is taking it a lot more seriously. They're taking it very serious, more so than ours did.
We talked to on one of our previous shows. Some of the panelists were saying that who are in or not panelists. Some of the guests who are in Canada said they're more strict, and it's definite. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
And I guess in a way it's a good thing or a bad thing depending on your perspective. But as long as you're enjoying your time over there, and I hope work goes good. Have you started work yet? Because I know you're over there for work.
No, I was exempt from quarantine, which was nice, because my work is deemed essential. But I got the other day I got automated phone call from the Canadian government asking about my quarantine, and I answered the questions truthfully, and they told me that I was non-compliant and I could be charged with up to $750,000 fine or imprisonment. So that was fun.
But wait a minute, isn't the border who decided whether or not you should be quarantined?
Yeah, so I called a different line, and the lady was like, "Oh, it's just an automated system. Just go onto this website and put your information in and say that you were deemed essential and you didn't have to quarantine, and it'll update and you'll be fine." I haven't got a call since, so hopefully I don't have to go to jail.
Let's hope not, especially over in Canada. It's not going to be a good quarantine for you over there. All right.
No,
Let's
not
bring
so
our
much.
next panelist in. Please welcome Bill. Bill, how's it going for you? You're muted right now, Bill. Oh, Bill is there, and Bill is muted.
Hello.
There he is. How you doing, Bill?
Well, I'm doing fine. Saturday I went to a barbecue for NA members, that I knew from Emmanuel House, and we had a good get together. And I've been keeping myself busy around here, doing household work, I guess you could say. And
It's a good
that's
time to get that cleaned
basically
up. You don't want to wait too long. Because when
No.
when it gets really hot, and it's already getting hot, but then you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's
well,
the
that's the way
best
it
time.
was
Get
for
it
the
done
past
now.
few days, so I was behind. That's the way it was for the past few days. I was behind. I was watching the grass grow, to a foot high in the back. So
Oh, man.
I
That
gotta
that's
get
that
out
might be a
there.
little too much. That might have. It's definitely
Yeah.
time. Your neighbors must not be fans right now. I was like, my neighbors used to be bad. We got Jan here. Jan, how you doing? She says hello. She ate dinner. She took her meds. Crochet is down. I'm all yours. Let the opinions begin. Well, we're here for those opinions, Jan. I'm glad everything's going good for you. Any news? Because I know you've been talking to us before, Jan, about the kidney thing. How's that going with you? Please let us know. We're very interested in finding out how you're getting through that. Bill's here, obviously, and says, "Where the hell are all the women?" Bill, I wish I knew right now. They're not here tonight, but that's okay because we have some great panelists on here, including yourself. And does Anthony have any mementos from Cheetahs yet? Anthony, I have to ask.
As far as I know, they're not open. That's not essential business.
I disagree with that. I think that is
I
essential.
also disagree. My opinion is that it's the utmost essential, but the Canadian government, I guess, doesn't agree with us.
So strip clubs, Cheetah's a strip club, for those that don't know, on the other side of the border of Michigan in Canada. And it's a really nice one. It really is. Not that I've ever been there, because I'm very high moral standards and would never expose myself to such things.
I've never been. I've only heard stories.
No, me too. If you get get like table 23 too, there's a girl named Dawn. She'll take care of you good, by the way, if you're ever there. Of course, I've only
Or
heard.
so you've heard.
I've heard.
Yeah, I took
Bill
my
also
nephew
said-
when he went in the army.
That's a way to let him go. I know a guy. He will get Cheetahs open. Who's your guy that can get Cheetahs open over there, Bill? Dying to know.
Did he get the border open?
Get the border.
Nah, I have no control over that stuff.
What is going on there? You got somebody locked up, Bill?
No, I'm beating his foot. Hey, stop! You're
Oh, it's your dog. Okay.
pounding
I was
his
like,
foot
I know-
against the floor.
It's like, I know that's not me. I'm in a hotel room by myself.
I was
I know,
about
I'm
to say
like-
it was the bill collectors.
I'm like, this is live. If you got people locked up on the other side of the door, Bill, I mean, we can't
Well, I've
have
got
that on
3
here.
dogs in my room right now.
So everybody
Oh.
out there who's watching here, how is your day going? How is your week going? Please let us know. If anything's happened this week you want to talk about, please let us know as well. One of the things we're going to bring up a few different things actually on the show that we talked about. I'm going to start with Bill because you had mentioned it earlier, and it's going to be a jumping point for what I wanted to talk about with your daughter. Your daughter's not doing well right now, is she? Bill?
Not that I know of. I'm waiting to see the text. I'm waiting to find out. She's currently in ER at St. Mary's.
Well,
She had that corona shot, and I guess everything went on her.
I mean,
man.
I'm saddened for that. I really hope for the best out of that.
Can you hear
right
me?
now? Yeah, I can hear you. I don't think you can hear me, but either way, I hope for the best
Yeah,
in
I
you
don't
right
know
there.
what's going on with her because I'm waiting on a message. You know,
Now, has she ever had reactions to flu vaccines before or anything like that?
No.
I know we're talking a little bit of COVID again really quick because I'm just curious. I hate to see this happen. The percentage of
Not
people
that
that
I
actually
know
get
of.
sick is so small. But,
not
and we
that
have,
I know of.
and I think we have a surprise guest here.
Oh.
Please welcome onto the panel, Steve. How you doing? Steve is still.
Hey there, I don't see you.
Mike's a little messed up there, but we can get that taken care of hopefully in a second. Can you see us now? Just let us know when you can see us, and we'll address you right there.
Bill's not going to be happy. Another guy in the panel.
So, Steve, how you doing tonight?
I can see you.
All right. You can see me. Well, we can see you right now. Audio's a little bit choppy. Hopefully
I
that'll
can
clear
see
up in a
Keith and
second.
Anthony right now. That's about it.
Okay. Well, Bill
Someone
always
on the-
hides.
Bill.
Bill hides. Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
So what brings you on here, Steve?
Am I coming through on the
Yes, you are.
audio?
Mike seemed to be having trouble today. I'm noticing that with a lot of people.
I was gonna say it kind of sounds like a transformer on my end.
Yeah, Bill did for a minute too. You did for a minute, Anthony. So I hope that gets cleared up. It's just we're just gonna blame Comcast. That's what we do. It's Comcast's fault.
I can blame the whole Canadian government because why not, right?
Hey,
They
you're
probably have
trying not
nothing
to
to
get
do with
booted
it,
out of
but-
there.
Technology, period.
No, it's a great place.
Bill
It's a great
Gates,
place.
all of them.
Drina's back. Drina, how you doing? Missed you last show. I was watching from Sweet Sides, Detroit, Michigan, USA. Drina, glad to have you here. I hope everything is going well for you. How has your week been, Drina? Glad to have you. Steve is frozen right now. Maybe we'll get back to him in a minute.
I'm going to close some things in my browser.
All right, you do that.
maybe
And just reconnect to us, Steve. All right, so what I was saying, a lot of people have the vaccine issues, but not a whole lot compared to the number of people getting them. And I'm sorry that had to happen. Do you feel that she made the right decision in doing such a thing, or do you respect that decision? Bill?
I respect her decision. I mean, she's entitled. It's her body. It's her life. She's old enough. She's, what, 34, 35 years old. I can't make decisions for her on this stuff. That's her thing. I might, while I don't advise it, I don't try to enforce it. I don't enforce my thinking on anybody. You ask me what I believe, I tell you what I believe. You tell me if I get the shot and I say I don't, try to understand why I don't. If you can't, just accept it. I have to do the same thing with them. You know, that's how it works.
That I really admire that though. That's what I wish a lot more people would do, because it's totally good to have an opinion on things, whether you're for it or against it. It's just understanding other perspectives. Steve, can you hear us now?
Yeah, it's better.
All right, Mike's still a little choppy. That's okay. Drina's here. Drina says, "I miss you." Says she's okay. She's hanging with a friend. Awesome. Hello to your friend, Drina. And why on which part? Why was I think for Bill? Why were you against the vaccine? Is that what you were asking, Drina?
Because
On there, and
because I don't, because relatively they know little about it. I can't believe media because media, you'd be surprised how much control media has over people. I mean, with some people, you can hold an orange up to the screen and say it's an apple, and there are some people that don't know any better, they'll believe it. You know, they
And
don't
there's
do
some
any
people-
research.
in fairness, there's some people who are totally against it so much that anything they say they don't believe as well,
Yeah.
and that is
Yeah.
equally a big problem.
The biggest thing that I've seen is a lot of people can't tell the difference between actual news stories and opinion pieces.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing with media, because I'm going to say it, media doesn't lie as much as people think media lies. Because if you're actually watching a media news story, you're watching a news story. If you're watching a journalistic piece, it's a news story. An editorial is totally different as opinion, and people cannot tell the difference. Drina asked why she's not on the panel. Well, Drina, you can easily get on the panel. All you got to do is go to earshouldervoice.com/join, and you can be on this panel. That's all there is to it. We'd love to actually see you on here. Bill says right now, I think when I got vaccinated, she used a 9-inch long 7-gauge needle. For some people, it hurt. I mean, I've definitely heard that for a few people, it ended up hurting a lot more.
That's a long ass needle.
I've heard that too.
But this is also Bill, so rule of 3 probably applies.
Yeah,
You know?
Okay. 3-inch needle.
Yeah, so that's possible.
And they've got 3 different types of vaccines out there, you know. And I already heard the one, you know, was causing blood clots. Who wants to, you know, when you hear stuff like that, you naturally become intimidated not to go anywhere near the stuff, you know.
Well, it's
I mean,
important to. The problem is that we have with a lot of people is what you were actually saying, Bill. You're constantly, you see it on the media and don't believe it, or you see it on the media and totally do, instead of researching further into what they're saying. Instead of trying to figure out for yourself, too many people are, again, it's a sided thing. it's because this side believes it, I'm not going to do it. It's because this side believes it, I'm not going to do it, or something like that. Instead of researching and finding out problems for yourself, which could solve a lot of our issues. If
Yeah.
we just look at facts, you know, like the vaccine, I know somebody who knew somebody, in your case, it's obviously direct with your daughter, but who got sick after taking the vaccine. Those are the stories you hear about. You don't hear stories on the news or from family, I got the vaccine, I'm fine. You don't hear them, but there's so much more than those who are harmed by it. And it's still, I believe, everybody's right to choose to get it or not to get it in any way. Steve, you're
Because
awfully
of
quiet over there.
sensationalism.
Yeah, sensationalism has a lot to do with it, and that has been something that has happened since we've pretty much allowed media, politics, and everything to become an entertainment venue instead of actually being news and important information. And that's one thing that I think we've done. Even the last president we had, and this one as well, was voted in based on entertainment factor. It was what people saw a lot because it really was. The presidency became a reality show. And the same thing happened even with this one. How much can you make people view? How many ever watched debates before? How many ever watched CNN or Fox or MSNBC as much as they do now? Not nearly as many because of the entertainment factor.
Yeah, it became a popularity
Yeah.
contest.
Yeah.
You don't know what to
And
believe.
you didn't hear
anymore
much
either.
about policy, right? Because neither candidate on this last election that I know of really discussed much of their policy. It was, well,
Right.
that guy did that. Well, that guy did that.
But the same
that
was
guy
the
did
previous
this.
election too.
Oh,
The
yeah,
previous,
and
it was always I'll tell you then, and that was one side, and the other side was we've got something great. It's here,
Yeah.
but you're just holding a pamphlet. We don't know what's in it. And that was a problem from both of them. Because it didn't matter. It was about how much insult you can throw, how deep you can throw someone's name in the mud. Like any reality show, a reality show will not succeed on TV if everybody sits around, has dinner, and discusses their day at school. And, you
Yep.
need that fight, you need that battle. And
Well,
that's what it became.
That's like the first debate with Clinton and Biden. It was like a shooting match. I had to cut it off. It was
And
like
that's
two
what it
kids
was.
arguing.
Wayne's here. Wayne says, "Oh fuck, you guys talking politics." Shit, that pissed me off. Well, Wayne, we're not really talking politics. We're just talking briefly about the fact that the political arena has become more of a spectacle. We're not really talking about one side or the other specifically. Just that it's now a spectacle instead of fact-based, and that all came from the vaccine talk. Because unfortunately, Bill's daughter became ill from the vaccine, but we know a lot of people that got it with no issues whatsoever. And it's just what the media promotes on that. The CDC and the Mayo Clinic were the ones to listen to. And I do believe that, but the problem is we don't truly know what the CDC said. Unless you go to the CDC website or you go and follow the facts of the CDC. When you learn what the CDC said from media outlets, you never got the truth. You got a cited version of the truth.
Yeah, and the timing is always off.
What about you? I'm going to ask because you've been awfully quiet over there, Steve. We like having you on here, but you're awfully quiet. So what about you? You got any opinions on that? Anything with the vaccine, the media, or anything on your mind? Otherwise, you joined us unexpectedly, first time on the show. Love to have you here.
Yeah.
So,
So
or anything different on your mind?
I got both doses of the Pfizer vaccine, no side effects at all. I was a little skeptical about the mRNA vaccines. I thought they were totally new technology that was just thought of during the pandemic, but the truth is people have been working on those mRNA vaccines for years, so when the pandemic came, they were almost ready. And then I was a bit more confident in it.
And that's, I do think there was legitimate testing for people to be more confident in it, but I also understand people saying it hasn't been out that long as well. It's a scary thing. You're talking about something injected into your body that's going to affect the rest of your life. So anybody who gets mad at other people for not getting it or gets mad at them for getting it, you're wrong. And that brings me to part number 2, which actually was not politically related, and that is knowing the other person's story. When we're arguing with people, I think I have a really hard time when people are arguing with you and never take a moment to hear your side and what's going on with you. They take immediate judgment, and they think they're right, no matter what. And anybody that does that most of the time is not right, unless it's me.
Or me.
Yeah. But they're not. And I actually bring this up because I was at work the other day, and one of the customers that go there, now I'm a big guy, so naturally he can fix me and make me better, turn me into the $6 million man or whatever.
Better, faster, stronger.
Right. And all that. And continuously taking time to insult me on how I don't care about my health and I don't care about my body, and I have plenty of time, but I'm lazy pretty much, and I don't do anything to make myself better. And this guy knows nothing about me. Didn't take time to ask questions, and I got in a huge fight with him because who are you to tell me you don't know my life? Well, you're sitting there, you took a break to smoke a cigarette while I'm working. I'm like, you're right, my 7 minutes I took a break for, and you want me to fill that with somehow running down to your gym, eating a protein shake and lifting weights and go back to work?
No, you got to stop and do 20 push-ups, and then run in place for the other however much time you have left.
Right. I mean, I go off 4 hours sleep most of the week. About 4 hours sleep, I'm up, and now that shit's back, I'm out the door.
Sorry, I'm looking at comments.
I know, I'm trying not to read them yet because I'm trying to be serious. And I saw Bill, and then I saw Wayne, and I said Bill. So I'm like,
I'm in full screen now. I can't see him.
that's fair. And it's just, I'm out the door. I'm working consistently home, and I'm trying to find time to do anything. Sometimes I don't have time to even go to the bathroom. And I'll remember that at a different date. And if he would take the time to listen to me and listen to my story and realize maybe there's other issues that I'm dealing with too. And you treat people like they're less than you and you're a god, and that is a problem. And I was just curious, because vaccines are partly related and the political motivations and your daughter and stuff. You ever have somebody that pushes that hard without hearing your story? Anybody out there, I'm curious, that tries to push you to do something and figures they know better than you even though they don't know your story? Anybody?
Not me. Everybody just leaves me alone.
Really? That's
No.
not fair. I'm supposed to have something more there. Let me get to some comments there. I am curious, though, because I do see it a lot, and I also see it with people doing it to others as
Yeah.
well.
I
who
see
don't
it
know what's
on
going
I see it on Facebook a lot.
That's
believe it
another
or
place
not.
you do. Facebook is famous for that. Because Facebook, you can hit and run. You don't have to
Yeah.
learn their fucking stories.
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah, exactly. Go to a comment, then I'm going to get to Steve here, because Steve's a little bit on the quiet side, but he's new, so it's okay. Bill says, can Steve go outside and grab a woman and bring her in to be on the show?
And I wanted to talk about with Wicked.
We will definitely get to that in 1 second. I'll get to these comments, and then we'll find out what we want to talk about, Steve. If you can grab a woman, you'll make Bill really happy. Wayne says he had so many arguments about the stupid vaccine, I almost punched someone over it. But why get violent over it? At this point, why not turn around and just walk away?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to hit people you're not going to see eye to eye, Wayne. And your best bet is just to turn and leave. They're not going to change, and all you're going to do is endanger yourself, endanger them, cause a fight, spend time in jail, ruin your night, ruin everything because somebody has a different opinion than you. How worth it is
That's
it?
silly.
I've been
Yes,
told
you're
I was
silly.
stupid for what I believe.
Wayne, stop being so silly.
You know.
Bill says, tell Anthony I can send girls straight to his room if he has the cash.
Oh. I'm all set.
Many doctors have God complex and megalomania. That's also true. That was a great point, Bill. I didn't even think about that, but when talking about people doing, doctors do that all the time. And I can go back to like my cancer when I said I used to go to the doctor all the time. Oh, you're fat. You got a heart problem. They don't look into the story. They don't know what else it is. And my heart, if they ever do my test, my heart's in great shape. I may be big, but I have a strong heart. Wayne says because he's an angry person, and I know this. I know that, but even you should be on our Wednesday show. It's all about rage.
When I come back to the States, I'm going to give you a big hug.
And Wayne says,
Hey,
shut
Wayne.
up, Anthony.
I'll never shut up, bud.
All right, so let's get over to Steve really quick. Steve, what do you want to talk about today?
So I saw a video about the fight for $15 minimum wage. still going on after like 9 years, and the federal minimum wage is still $7.25. It's kind of sad, but I was thinking, because I was in college when the minimum wage went to 5 something to where it is at 7.25, and that took a couple of years. So what if they decided, let's raise it up to 10 something, let's keep it there for several years so that the companies can get used to it, and then let's work on raising it up to $15. If they did that, I don't think it would still be at 7.25.
Well, here's part of the thing. We actually discussed this on a previous show a little bit. We were talking about the minimum wage. It actually took over the show. The thing is, people didn't realize the minimum wage was not to jump to $15 an hour. That was not initially the case. It was supposed to slowly rise over the next, what was it, 4 or 5 years, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, to actually achieve that $15 an hour. And a lot of the problem that I think we had was the fact that it hasn't moved up to this point appropriately. Because I still think if minimum wage had moved appropriately, we would be at $15 an hour if it had moved appropriately throughout the years, along with increased cost of living.
Well, inflation's 2% every year, some arbitrary number that somebody came up with, but minimum wage doesn't go up at all with it, right? Who decided that inflation has to go up 2% every year?
Wayne says, thanks, pal, to you, Anthony, for that hug. Drina says, at this point, this is going back to the asking, at this point, most aren't masked. In reality, you will never know who has it or hasn't had it. Until the numbers drop to 0, I'll be masked. And I respect that. I'm going to get back to the minimum wage thing in a minute, but I want to hit on Drina's comment. Oh, sorry. I actually have started to wear masks less because I am fully vaccinated, and I did follow the rules all the way through with the exception of my job, because nobody at my job followed the rules, and it was kind of a pointless thing to do. I just kept in cleanliness and tried to keep everything white and clean like that. But I started thinking to a point, you know what, I did my bit. I went to stores mass. I stayed in when I could. I didn't try to expose myself in other places. I got vaccinated. It's been 4 weeks since, or 6 weeks almost, since I had my second dose. I guess I kind of deserve to not wear a mask for a little bit, but I'm still leery in crowded places, because you're right about one thing: you don't know who has it. Because your anti-vaxxers aren't going to go, oh, I'll put one on, sure, because I didn't get vaccinated.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them are just going to say, yeah, I got vaccinated, give me a mask. Or they're going to say, HEPA. You know, it's going to be one of those things. Drina also still not comfortable with being vaccinated. Pardon me, Steve?
The day that I got my first shot, I went to Jamboozies that Thursday in the middle of April, and I was thinking, this place could get in trouble now if they get caught.
They could, but you're dealing...
You know.
But in fairness, these businesses, they have to make money. They're drowning at this point, and I don't like it either. I'm actually on your side with this. Most people don't know on there, but I'm on your side. I don't think they should be open. I don't think a lot of things should have been open the way they were. But you got to feel for these businesses a little bit, because they're not getting the help they needed, and they've got to grab onto every single thing they can when people are starting to get let in.
A lot of businesses fell under, never to come back.
Okay, so
The small businesses.
a lot of them did go under. There was help for some of them, but not enough of them out there. Drina says she's still not comfortable with being vaccinated, and that's a right she has. I am vaccinated, and I'm still not 100% comfortable with it, because it is something new. You know, it's unlike the other vaccines out there. I did it just because I want normalcy. Like, that was my biggest thing. I want normalcy back. Drina says she has a friend who has and feels weak and has spots probably from the vaccine on there. And like we said there, Bill's daughter also is having a problem with the vaccine. And I don't know if anybody knows Linny. Linny had 2 friends now, or one friend. Both parents got the vaccine, and unfortunately it turned out to be a very bad thing for them. And that was something really hard to deal with as well. But she knows a lot of people that got through it too. Most of these people were older. A lot of these people couldn't do flu shots to begin with as well. But you don't know the long-term outcome. Next, Cole Orton is back. Cole, how are you doing? Good to see you on here. all the way from even further than Anthony. Anthony's like from another country right now, but he's close. You're all the way over in the UK. Good to see you again. By the way, we owe you a bottle, Cole Orton, so please, when you get a chance, send over your information so I can send that to you because you won it on that show. He says it doesn't help that we live in a globalized economy, so as a result, companies can easily move their businesses abroad to much cheaper countries. Should minimum wage increase, most companies would probably just move elsewhere, outsource. They'd be mad not to form a business perspective. And I'm actually, wait, I'm going to go Anthony on this, because Anthony, I have a feeling you got a good opinion on this, because I got something too.
Well, okay. Yeah. So, $15 minimum wage increase, I don't think I don't agree with it. Right? I understand the issue that people need to have a livable wage. But I feel there are a lot of people who get a livable wage and a comfortable wage confused.
Correct.
Right? So livable wage isn't a new phone, new car, all these fancy things, being able to go out and drink and party all the time, right? That's not a livable wage. That's a comfortable wage, right? And most jobs that require some sort of skill or schooling pay that and then some, right? But when you have, I think Chipotle just started doing a $15 minimum wage, right? And they're increasing their prices 4%, right? And 4%, you say, well, it's not a lot. It's just a little bit. I can afford to pay 4% more for my Chipotle meal, so people get paid more. But if Chipotle does 4% increase, and then grocery stores 4% increase, and then everyone does a 4% increase, then your $15 an hour minimum wage is essentially the same as the $7.25. But then all of the people who are making more than that, who don't get a wage increase, are now living closer to the poverty line. So it doesn't fix, in my opinion, minimum wage being raised doesn't fix the root problem.
Do you think that it would go towards fixing it as every time minimum wage was increased, everybody's wage was also increased by an equal percentage?
I don't think
No
it
matter
would.
where they were?
The issue has to do with the big corporations and these board members and all of them. They're out for profit, right? So they're concerned about their profit margin, and they don't want to dip into their profit margin when they could easily, most of them, take a comfortable pay cut and increase the wage of their lowest paid employees easily. You know, you're talking, these people are making millions of dollars a year, and to do what? Sit on a board? I
Okay.
understand, but, you know, they could take and live comfortably on $500,000 a year, right? So, but that's not going to happen, right? Because you can't force businesses to cut their pay at the top.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's going to want to make less money.
No.
And when you talk about the people at the top, if they give out their percentage of whatever for the wage increases, then they're going to lose money. But where is a happy medium? Where is a solution to try to figure this out?
That's the issue,
Because
right?
everybody is against this minimum wage, they're against the $15, yes, and but nobody comes up with a solution. But maybe somebody will. What were you going to say, Steve?
So maybe we should look back to the last time the federal minimum wage increase. Was it 2007 to 2009? It went from 5 something to 7.25. What was the driving force back then?
Because it
Oh,
hadn't
that-
moved in 2007. It hadn't moved very much at all from the last 12 years prior to it.
Okay.
Since I was at 93 or 94, I think was the last big increase, and then it was very, very minor increases that didn't match, and they were trying to even that out.
And now it's been 14 years since 2007. So maybe it's time.
It is. I do believe it's time to increase it. I do believe it's time to increase it to a point, but it's not a good idea to jump the gun and just
No.
say, "Here's what you're making." It's a good idea to say, "Here is the plan on increasing it for everybody." You know, or increasing something, creating something financial, giving tax breaks to those who stayed employed at the same business for a certain amount of time. Don't pay as high taxes. Stay in the same business.
And looking at reducing the cost of living.
Yes.
right? Looking at making it.
Go ahead. I'm gonna.
Okay, I got distracted. Squirrel moment. Sorry. Looking at the apartment complexes and the housing industry and saying, okay, so we need to make sure that if the state can, and I understand this is kind of going into socialism a little bit, maybe, I don't fucking know, but say, okay, in this area, if it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, it can cost no more than X amount based on the wages in that area.
Actually,
Right?
before
So
I get to Drina, I want to counter that. So go ahead.
so it's one of those things to where like things can get. Why are we looking at giving everybody more money and not fixing the problem? Is why does it cost so much to live?
But that hits the problem we're facing. The biggest issues we have, especially in politics and people getting elected, are issues that are not pointing to the actual problems. Like you said, it's the minimum wage going to 15th the problem, but not fixing up the issue that leads it up there. Free health insurance is a big thing, but the issue is what the medical companies are charging.
Exactly.
The issues is not the health insurance. It's because the medical companies are charging so fucking much, and it became a racket for the insurance companies to take advantage
and they're all
of
for profit now.
necessity and need. Exactly. And that's where people are forgetting the fight needs to go.
Yeah, and it kind of pisses me off because it's being used as a distractionary tactic, right? Oh, we're gonna do free healthcare, and then you piss people off because they don't want free healthcare.
Well, the
And then
biggest
you've
thing
got
about
the people
it-
who hear free healthcare and they're like, yay! But the issue isn't the cost. The issue is why does it cost so much for these drugs? Why does it cost so much for this treatment? Why, like, where is this money going to? What are these companies using
Well,
all
the
of this
argument, just like welfare, free health care, and all that, the people who are paying are upset about it because I'm not paying for Joe Schmo to get coverage, to have something and sit on his ass. Well, you don't have to if we attack the problem that what we're covering is increased too high.
Yeah.
The cost of the medical field, the cost of rent, the cost of vehicles, insurance for vehicles, insurance for healthcare, anything is way too high. That needs to be addressed, and you kill both those arguments. But if you kill both those arguments, you have no political discord. So that becomes the problem in itself.
Bingo.
Before I go, I want to respond to Cole Orton as well from his previous conversation. This is a very gray area when you're talking about people outsourcing and bringing in, because it was a really good idea a few decades ago to outsource. It was a smart move. It made sense. You were able to pay your wages better because you were saving money on parts and goods and other places doing things, and it was brilliant. Then we got into this mode of, oh my God, the Chinese are making our stuff. Okay, so let's not outsource. Let's do everything inside. Let's do it all in-house. And then that eventually costs more money because we're America and we like to charge up the ass for shit. Naturally, we do as companies. So we get in this situation now. Now we're paying too much for goods, and now people are saying they're going to outsource again. It's
Well,
a
they never
never-ending-
really stopped outsourcing.
No, they didn't. But
They
we got
started
on this
bringing
train,
things
this
back.
Buy
Yeah.
America train, which is important to buy for us in America. To buy within your country, that's important. But technology exists all over the world. Things exist. Most of us, my Samsung's a Korean phone. I fucking love my phone. I'm sticking with Samsung,
Well, and when it comes down to it, a lot of the companies, what they said was, oh, we can cut costs, but not give the difference back to the people and charge less. It was, we can cut costs and put money in our pockets.
Right.
So
And that's-
we don't see any benefit from that, but they're saving all of this money.
But yet we don't see any benefit, but we're still going to bitch about how it's working.
Yeah.
We have no control over it, but we're bitching about it. Why are we bitching about it? Because we like to bitch. Really, if we would have followed one path and stayed with it, we wouldn't have half these issues. I'm not saying buy everything overseas. I'm not saying buy everything in-house in your country, But stick with the path that works, and our economy was booming. It was growing for a very long time until the last 15-some years. And then we had that big crash in 2008. We recovered a bit. We recovered more, and now we're dealing with another issue that's caused another crash, but that's been a worldwide issue
Yeah.
for a lot of people, so it's not just us. Drina, back to the shot thing. She feels weak a lot, has spots at the shot. They told her to go away. I've actually not heard of the spots after the vaccine shot. That's a new one on me. I hope they do go away. The weakness, though, I know a lot of people who felt very weak after the shot. How long ago did she have it, Drina? Jan says, I've started seeing ads for volunteers for research for the shots. Research Yes, research. I don't think that's wrong. I think that's fine because there are things that we take every day. I'm sorry, they're still researching effects of tobacco that we've had for 100 years. You know,
Well, yeah, and
on
you have to
products.
remember it's still not FDA approved. It hasn't gone through all of the trials that would normally grant FDA approval.
And I have a problem actually with this entire line because you're bitching research, like that's ridiculous, but yet I'm not taking the shot because they haven't researched it enough.
Yeah, I'm all for them researching it.
Well, which is it? Yeah, do you want it? And I'm
Yeah,
genuinely
no,
curious.
that's what I'm saying. The
Not you,
reason
I'm
I
talking
don't
to
is
Jan.
because, yeah, but personally, I want them to do more research. I actually heard,
Yeah.
it was a clip on a talk show. There was a doctor from Canada who said that they were doing research in Japan about the effects of the vaccine, and it wasn't that great. Um, it was actually kind of scary. Um, but there was a research paper about kind of how the spike protein was not good for people, and it was doing more bad things than good. I guess I don't know too much about it, but it was definitely something that I was like, okay, I'll have to look into that paper. Couldn't find an English copy of it. The only link that there was in Japanese, and I don't read that, so it was.
Jan also
Well,
said
people
back.
would,
Oh, go ahead.
people would say that, of course, getting COVID would be much worse than side effects from the vaccine most of the time.
Well, but you don't know that. That's
Well, I
the
don't
issue,
think that's
right?
necessarily true because a lot of
Yeah.
people get COVID and don't have any symptoms or any issues whatsoever. Getting a severe case of COVID obviously would be worse than having the vaccine. But there are people, sadly, that the vaccine's the route they choose to take and they lose their life from the vaccine as well. It is a heavy thing to do because nobody wants to be a statistic. They don't want to be
No.
the one and whatever. On either
You're
side.
damned if
whether
you
it's-
do, you're damned if you don't.
But it's respect about the other person. Back to Jan and her kidney thing. She said her blood pressure is doing better. She's not going back to her blood pressure meds. The kidney doctor says too. Don't want to drop low again. I see him next month. He did put me on a med that eats the bad cholesterol in my blood and the Arctic Strength vitamin D. Happy birthday, Bill. Bill, is it your birthday?
Tomorrow, actually.
Well, happy
Just another
birthday, my
day.
friend.
birthday.
Just
Looks
another
like we're going to
day.
have to take you to visit Anthony and head over to Cheetah's.
I think
Just
the
another
border's
day
still
to
closed
me.
to non-essential travel. They probably wouldn't be
It's
too
Bill's
happy with
birthday.
that.
It's essential.
Oh, I agree with you, but I don't think the Canadian government would.
Wayne says, back to the wage increase. $15 an hour fast food work is fucking dumb. I'm not going to pay $12 for a Big Mac just for them to mess it up. Why not? It's not just the fast food workers who are going to make the more money. And McDonald's is a multi-billion-dollar company. They don't have to raise a Big Mac to $12 to pay their workers more.
No, a Big
They
Mac's already
will.
damn near $12, and I think most McDonald's are hiring close to that right now anyway. Because of the issue with the pandemic, they can't find anybody to go back to work.
Yeah.
I'm
And,
I believe in a circle of economics, okay? All right, you give somebody a raise, the company has a profit margin they want to meet, so they're going to jack up the price of their goods or the materials or what have you. They're going to have a reason to jack up the prices. You're back where you started from because now you're making more money, but now you got to pay more for the goods. And eventually, people can't afford the goods, so then they start laying off people because nobody's buying the product. I see
People-
that with the auto industry. I mean, nowadays, you buy a car and it almost costs you as much as a house.
Okay. But here's the problem.
It gets a
Just
little.
going back to
It's
this.
a vicious circle.
Your argument is very valid, but here's where the problem comes in. He's not going to pay $12 for a Big Mac just for them to mess it up. Okay, minimum wage. What is minimum wage right now in the United States? Was it 9?
The federal is, I think, 7.
725.
Okay, 7.25.
In
know what's
Michigan, it's 950, I think, or
Okay.
975.
So federal will go 7.25
Yeah,
federal
higher,
minimum
yeah.
wage. Federal minimum wage back in 1994 was about $4.50. You know how much a Big Mac was compared to what it is now?
Pennies on the dollar.
Exactly. The price for the Big Mac has consistently gone up to where it's like $7 for a fucking Big Mac. or it's like I think $6. They have their deals every once in a while. The price for a Whopper has gone up extensively, way more than minimum wage has. That's the problem. They're raising it, but they're not raising the cost of living for it. And again, this is going back 25 years.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Who decided inflation is 2% every year?
Yeah,
Who put that number there?
it's done by an average. It's
Yeah.
done by a basic average, but that should change too.
But it should. Why does it have to be 2%?
It doesn't, sadly. It doesn't.
Right? It could be. Honestly, inflation could be 0.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's no need to have prices go up 2% every year, other than to make the people up top richer and the people down below poor.
Jan says Texas is open 100% now. Hiring signs all over the place because they stopped the unemployment pay here last week. They haven't stopped the pay, and hiring signs are all over the place here, Jan, but I get what you're saying on that. Wayne says, God bless Texas. I so wish I could live there. Texas just recently had a pretty big problem, too. I hope God bless everybody in Texas from the most recent shooting down there. Everybody wants to live somewhere else because grass is always greener syndrome. But when you're there, you're going to often find that you have the same issues going on.
We got green
Jan
grass
says-
over here, but you can't do anything.
Jan says he refused to be a human, mouse, or rat, and etc. Well, of course, you don't have to be a volunteer. You don't have to be one of these people. You can't. The problem that we're dealing with a lot of people, you're insulting so many other people with that statement, Jan. People who are really trying to just better themselves or their family or something, you're calling them mice and rats and lab testers. They're not. They're people who made an opinion. I hate to say it, you're calling Bill's daughter a lab rat, a mouse, or something like that. You're calling my family that. That kind of divide is what is building hate, or that kind of speech is what's building the hateful divide in this nation. You know, I realize it just sounds like a quip you want to say, but I'm no lab rat. I'm looking to see what I can do. Is it possible something go wrong? Yeah. My family, my friends aren't. And just like you are not a bad person in any way or anything that needs to be insulted because you don't want to take the vaccine, that's your choice. We can't say things like that consistently because that just makes us feel so hated by other people.
Yeah.
And that kind of talk from everybody, and we all do it, that kind of talk has to stop. That is what built us into such a hateful society like we've never been before.
You can't have a discussion with anyone anymore
Yeah.
because of that, right? And you know, I've been labeled now as an anti-vaxxer.
Right.
I'm
You're
not an
that.
anti-vaxxer.
just-
I'm all for vaccines. I'm just hesitant about this particular one.
Because you
But
have an
because I am-
opinion.
Yeah, but because I have an opinion on this particular vaccine, because it is new and there hasn't been a lot of testing, there hasn't been a lot of studies yet, I've been labeled as an anti-vaxxer.
Jan says, I agree, Wayne. The young ones always get the orders wrong. Ask Bill about the onions and his daughter. That's not new, though. They've been fucking up orders forever. You've got... See, I love this. I love
and the
this
thing is-
argument.
Yeah.
When dealing with the fast food, they're like, fast food is designed for high school kids. They don't need to make that much money. It's a stepping stone. You've heard this argument 100 times. You know, there's no reason McDonald's has to pay this. But yet, you're complaining about them messing up orders. They're fucking high school kids. They've never had a job. They're learning how to do this right now. Which is it going to be?
Well, and the thing is, right, if they're fucking up these orders and you don't want to pay $12 for a fucking Big Mac, then don't go to McDonald's and buy a fucking Big Mac.
From a high school kid making it behind the counter, or somebody
Right.
who's 90 and can't get another job.
Yeah, I mean, that's the chance you take by going to that place. If you don't like it, you don't have to go there.
Right.
And if people really didn't like it that much, and it was a big deal for them, McDonald's wouldn't be in business anymore.
Right. And most people don't care. That's the thing. Jan also says, y'all come down. And we will. I'd love to go to Texas, Jan. I'd love to be down there for a small period of time. I love my
Eggs, you
Michigan.
can fry them on the cement.
That whole southern border, you can do that stuff. Before we... Well, first, hello, Joe. Glad to have you here. I know that last name. I know you.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it should very much so. Just bringing it up really quick. Of course, sad news as he just brought up to me. Of course, those that don't know, Superman, Ned Beatty, very famous, died today. 83 years old. He was great. Miss him because he wasn't Superman. He was. What's his name? Owen? Was it Owen? Or can't remember. I can't remember his exact name. But Lex Luthor's sidekick. I don't know why I can't remember his name also, but also he was Dan Connor's dad on Roseanne. He's been in a few things. Ned Beatty was a great actor.
Yeah.
God rest him. Jan says the Onions almost landed Bill's daughter in the ER. So
At McDonald's?
I have here's my at McDonald's. It's sad. I am 50-50 on this shit because I get what you're saying that it can harm somebody and send them to the ER, but they are high school kids. If I am deathly allergic to onions and I go to McDonald's and I order something no onions, if I'm deathly allergic, I'm going to open that fucking sandwich and I'm going to see if there's onions in it. I don't care if I go to a 5-star restaurant. If I order something without something I'm deathly allergic to, I'm not going to just put it in my mouth without thinking. So I feel bad that she was in that position, especially for you, Bill, and your daughter. I feel bad she was in that position, but you can't blame a fast food place
I
run
took
by
the
high school
hamburger
kids.
back.
Yeah, that's what you should have done.
I took
mean,
the
you can.
hamburger back and told them the situation, and said, look, she's allergic to this. And they gave me another burger. In fact, they gave me a free dessert.
And that was
and I
absolutely
didn't
what
bitch
they
them
should have
out or
done.
anything. I just said, look, I said, I can't, she can't eat this. So I try to stress it. She has an allergy, no onions. But if it gets overlooked, I can't control that. The only thing I can do is try to remedy it.
And if
that's
anybody's-
just take it back.
Who here has worked in
Just
fast food? Just curious.
go
Who has worked in
without.
fast food? I have. Steve, you ever worked in fast food?
I have not.
You have not.
My first
How about
job
you,
was
Bill?
a
Did you ever work in
math tutor in
fast
college.
food?
No, but I've seen how busy it can get.
I have, and that's the thing people don't realize, and I usually forgive a lot of mistakes that fast food places make. When you're working there, you've got a little monitor on the screen with 5,000 different fucking letters constantly flowing, tripping, and moving in every direction. It's easy to misread things. We do that with a lot. I do it when somebody puts a comment, I'll misread it sometimes. It's easy to make those mistakes, and it's not right that
They do it on
but-
the auto industry.
Yeah, all the time. And it's the same thing, Bill, you gotta, and you did the right thing, and McDonald's should have, and apparently it compensated you, and they should have more than compensated you for that, because it is a mistake that could be costly to make. But mistakes happen. And I wish we wouldn't feel that we can sometimes pick on our own errors, but not accept them from other people. I don't know why, I'm in a little mood today, I'm sorry. I was like...
I like it. You're feisty.
Okay, I'm feisty today. I have no idea why. Cole, love you. Cole, love you.
Yes. Spread out the gloves.
Cole Orden says, just wait till robots take over and start doing everyone's job. As robot will put a lot of people out of jobs and further drop raises for jobs still around for humans. Unless we're going Terminator aspect, somebody has to run those robots. I mean, they said the same thing about computers when they were
just
first
look at the
coming out.
auto industry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm working at a Ford plant right now, installing a machining line that at some point somebody had to take and drill and manually machine all of these. But it's still, there's 20, 30 guys on the job site working to install it, and then there'll be a handful of guys there to maintain the line.
Yeah.
Because
Jobs change.
no matter how many robots, you're going to have some human to tell the robot what to do.
Unless you go Terminator.
Yeah, unless you have a sentient fucking robot that can do what a human can do.
Repair
But
itself.
then I think we got more important things to worry about than jobs.
I think that's what a lot of people are missing too, is they're always like you're going to lose certain jobs. For some reason, losing jobs to technology is a new issue. But it's not. It's existed forever. Like I said before, how many blacksmiths do you go see? How many caretakers do you see? How many of these old
I was
West
in the electronics
professions?
business.
Yeah, because well,
I was in the
technology.
electronics business, and they replace boards now instead of fixing them.
Exactly what
It's
happens.
done in the factory.
The
I got
job
phased out.
as long as humans are making these robots or whatever, they're going to have to have people to maintain and advance them because we're also not going to go to a standstill. There is probably eventually a point where there's going to be a lot more automation. But they said computers were going to take over the world and nobody was going to have a job. They're half right. Computers have taken over the world. There's really nothing you do that doesn't involve a computer one way or another anymore. We've given up digital copies. Like, how often do you even see people with paper and a pen anymore? It's almost non-existent. No newspapers, no nothing like that. Newspapers are down, but people still have journalistic jobs. You know, people lost their jobs. Paper boys
Yeah,
don't have
and
them
the
anymore.
printing, you know.
The printing industry is down. Something will always be around for us to do. But the ultimate goal of humans, because we're lazy by nature, is to have everything done for us. But bitch that we're not the ones controlling what's being done for us.
You are very, very much so feisty today, Keith.
I don't know why, but I am.
I
I'm not
thoroughly
trying.
enjoy it.
Must be that cigarette.
Jan says back, oh, no, you know what it is? I'm not drinking.
Oh,
I'm not drinking
either.
Hey,
Jan says back that the young ones did not read the order. Back to that thing with McDonald's. I agree, they were in the wrong, Jim, but to err is human. And it's
Yeah.
sad that sometimes it can be so harsh, but
People make mistakes.
requesting something does not mean that we should have no worries about that. And what Bill did is he said he found out, he took it back, he got it replaced in that situation. Okay, just because you request something to be done that way doesn't mean you absolve yourself of responsibility to check further and to make sure things were done right. I mean, that's what every job pretty much does. You have somebody going in afterwards to check in on it. You know, your supervisor double checks the job you did. It doesn't not absolve you from responsibility. If I did that in my business and just say, let somebody run my shows and never went and checked up on them, that's not right. I'm not absolved of responsibility. I have somebody do the job, but I still have to make sure things are done right. And it's like they're on autopilot, just make the order next. Of course they are, they're kids. I mean, honestly, when we
Who
were
isn't
kids,
at a
what did we
job?
do? Yeah, and any
I'm
job.
on autopilot, and I work
Yeah.
in, machinery.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
it's
you
all
notice that a lot
autopilot.
when
Turn your
So-
brain off and just go.
Go ahead, Steve.
that happens a lot if you
Yep.
if you
Especially
order
on
an
the
item that
assembly
normally
line.
has something, and if you order an item that normally has something, like if you order a burrito but you don't want the sour cream, it's relatively likely that they're going to put that on because they're so used to it.
And that's exactly what it is. That autopilot is so true because every item you may have a couple special requests, but you have hundreds upon hundreds that don't have that request, and that's just used to what you're doing. And the corporations don't make it easier on these people, saying you got to get that order out in 30 seconds to a minute. You got to have it down that line. You better run. You better keep this going. So don't take the time for quality. Let's push the quantity.
Yeah. Well, they got to make their money.
Yeah. Jan's
And once
responding-
again-
oh, go ahead.
If it's that big of an issue to some people that they don't want to go to fast food because people keep messing up their orders, then don't go to fast food.
I agree with
Right?
that.
It's simple. If it's that big
Or
of an
take
issue,
the step to check.
yeah. But you can't be angry at somebody for messing up an order and then go back the next day and then get angry if they mess it up again. Right? At that
Yeah.
point, it's on you because you keep going there.
In
You know?
response, I'm going to bring Cole Orton's comment one more time because Jan responded to it. Just wait till Ross take over, start doing everyone's job. Put people out of work. Jan responded with Cole. They already are with the big three employees there. Have to learn a new thing just to run the robots. My husband's last job lost his job years ago due to computers. He manufactured wings for a plane. He's too old to learn that shit. That's technology and advancement. I'm sorry. It is. Things change. I can't go in and program in the old programming languages I used to. They don't exist anymore. I can't
Nope.
take my skills of fixing two TVs and VCRs anymore. I have to learn a new technology. They don't exist.
Well, and as far as the big three goes, I mean, you still will have your mechanical maintenance guys,
Hi,
your
Joe.
electricians, your pipe fitters, and the guys that have to work with their hands to do all of the stuff that they did, just on a different piece of equipment. But it's the same concepts, unless you're getting into programming, but that's a completely new field. But machine maintenance has been machine
Everything.
maintenance for as long as machines have been around, right? I mean, even when they were manual operated machines, maintenance on that machine is not much different than the maintenance on the new machines that are coming out. So those jobs really haven't changed much, but the machines have gotten a lot more efficient.
Everything is going to become obsolete.
Yeah,
Everything we have, every bit of technology
Eventually,
we
yeah.
have.
slowly
And-
but surely.
Yeah, and with the rate technology moves now, sadly, we're going to see many things become obsolete in our lifetimes, which we already have. Repeatedly, we take advantage for the things that are convenience and won't complain about those. But if it directly hits us, that's a different story. And I actually
Yeah.
do respect and get that. But you have to look at the big picture.
Well,
We
and-
have what we have because of that. We have this podcast because of that. We have everything we do because of advancements in technology.
Yeah, in my industry, right now we've got an issue that most of the experienced workers are retiring. And there's not a large workforce that's younger to take those places. Because when I was growing up and going through school, they were pushing for technology. Get a degree, get an office job. You don't want to do blue collar work. You
Right.
don't want to work in a shop. You don't want to work at automotive and do that kind of stuff. Work with your hands.
They're being groomed
But
accordingly.
now they're backpedaling because there's no one to do those jobs, and there's still
Mhm.
hundreds of jobs that they need to fill because the workforce is older and they're retiring. Trades, and there's big money in trades.
Trades is a great business, but you still have to advance with the times.
Well, yeah,
Even mechanics who worked on cars 20, 25 years ago cannot work on cars now because of the technology now inside of them. The computer system. Basic
Yeah.
things they can do, sure, but a lot of them, they can't touch them.
well, the
your
electronics. if
fuel
you don't-
pumps, your everything is computer controlled now. And some won't even touch cars like that anymore. But if you just didn't replace those jobs, you'd have nobody to fix those things.
Yeah.
You have to have some
And you
jobs
can't
in
just
place
move-
to go with technology. You can't just what, Steve?
You can't just move trades overseas either because those jobs need to be done here for the most part.
Well,
So-
yeah, there's
Unlike engineering or programming jobs, on the other hand.
well, you can still outsourcing has to be done right. But we're a hatred filled human existence species. We're hatred filled. We don't
Yeah.
like anything like that. We think it's wrong to give them. We hate the fact that we make a phone call and someone with a foreign accent is talking to us, and I'm guilty of it too because I can't understand what they're saying, and it makes us those simple things like calling a phone number and having somebody foreign on the other line makes us hate all outsourcing.
Well,
More than it
and
needs to be
hopefully,
hated.
hopefully there was a big light with outsource that got shined on outsourcing because I'm all for it, but there comes a certain point in
There's a
time
limit.
where you have to make sure that you're able to manufacture and support your needs locally before you outsource. Right? Because just look at with COVID, a bunch of industries shut down, and now there's shortages all over the place on the chips in cars, right?
Yeah.
Because those were being made, they were being outsourced in a single area, and went down, and boom.
Yeah. Colin responded to Jan, says, yeah, gone are the days where hundreds of people were employed on production lines and factories. Robots do all that now.
But it's been gone
Cole
for a
Orton-
while.
I'm curious, Cole Orton. I don't know if I asked. How old are you again, Cole? I'm just curious. Because there's a phrase that's been going on for a long time, which is, it's a young man's world. It's been going on for 100 years. And it really is. Because they are the new ones. We have to accept at some point as we get older, we're not going to be as useful. Our trades are not going to be as useful anymore. It's a fact of life, sadly, unless you are constantly learning something new. Cole Orton, by the way, says he's 25. He was born in 1996. You have a very old world way of thinking, actually, Cole, and I respect that a lot. You've got a very good way of thinking because you sound a lot older than that when you're talking on there. And it is, and you're one of the people that's a young man's world that's going to be finding the trades to do it. We all were. At one point, Bill, I'm sure you were the person that knew better than anybody else in your field growing up and was able to get jobs and do things because you were the member of that new technology, whatever it happened to be. And
I had to
sadly,
re-educate myself at times. Like when computers came out, all right, I had to re-educate myself. I had to learn about computers, not just electronics, but I had to learn what was behind computers and how they worked.
but what we often don't realize when we're in that position, like you were, like I have been, like Anthony is kind of in the middle of right now, is we were putting people out of work who had trades 50 years older than we were. And it is a cycle, and it's something that's going to continue to happen, but don't hate it. Embrace it. Find ways to become a part of it. You don't have to hate everything as a whole.
But I like hating things.
I do too. But but
Leon form a club. The International Hate Club.
Sorry, I had to.
no, it's okay. Well, we're like I said, we're a society of hate. We feed off of it. We get our entertainment. Half the stuff we discuss or argue is based off hatred from one thing, one or another, or anything like that. That's what we feed off of. That's why there's fights on every TV show. There's divisiveness on all your news channels and all that. We feed off of it. That's why
I hate Windows 10.
He hates Windows 10.
I love
we
it.
heard that earlier.
I love it.
I actually do too. I'm actually a big fan of Windows 10.
I thought it was one of the better operating systems they've come out with in
And
a
the
while,
right
since-
direction for the company, in my opinion.
Well,
I
the
think
thing
since
is, I had
XP
programs that worked, and now programs don't work. So I've got a bunch of boxes with disks in them that no longer apply to today's technology.
Changing
You have
technology.
discs? Discs are outdated, my man. I don't even have a disk drive on this bad boy.
Oh, I don't have any disk drives. Well, yeah, I do. I'm lying.
Well, yeah.
I still do old shit, but
I'm in a
It's-
time warp.
we all are. We're all gonna be too. Don't worry. We're all gonna be there. I want to go back a minute here. Joe, of course, commenting on says, "Sad we have to push one to get English." That's one of the things that piss people off most. But
But it's not.
again, I want to. First of all, they've corrected that. Most things, hey, you have to push the button to get a different language. It is like, número ocho for español, something like that. And you can stay on the line for English. But we literally are a society that complains because we have to go, that's too much for us.
I have no issue pressing one for English.
And it's true. I mean, that's what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I open a lot of boxes, Jan. I tend to. And going back to Jan's previous comment before that, she had said, so if I'm a caregiver, this is going back to the high school kids doing things, and my shift is about over, but a patient has a wet diaper, do I say, my shift is over, let the next one do it?
A little bit different.
Maybe. First of all, it's a different kind of career. Typically, it pays differently. I don't know about your situation or anything like that, but typically caregivers are based more on education and people who have gone into that field and know what they're doing and usually make a little more money than that. Third, there's caregivers that absolutely do exactly that. Without question, that say, my shift is over, let someone else deal with it. Does it make it right? No. But it's part of life. They're
Well, and
equally
there's
as
a
bad
big
as anyone
difference between a job that is considered a career and a job that is considered a job, right? Like most fast food workers, if they're not in management, they don't look at that as a career. That's not what they're going to do. I'm sure that's not what they plan on doing for the rest of their life, especially if they're young. That's just a job to make the ends meet, to give them money to go have fun and hang out with their friends, right? When I worked at a grocery store, I didn't think of it as my career. It was just a job, so I had money so I could go do stuff.
Yeah.
Right? My current job is my career, right? But it took schooling, it took, a lot of time, and it's a trade. So it's something that I can do for the rest of my life. I can go anywhere in the country and work with this trade. That's a career, right?
Yeah.
So when you're talking about things and comparing a career to, a high school job, it's kind of different.
And I will 100% agree with that. And like when you go get your job, they sit you down, qualifications, your schooling, what can you do, and then you're also held to a higher standard on that job. Because of
course.
what they're paying you, you can't make these mistakes. When you go in for a job at McDonald's, why are you here? Mommy said I had to get a job or I'm out of the house. Okay,
Okay, you start Monday.
exactly. That's really it. That's the
Oh, yeah.
qualifications. That's what there is. It's a stepping stone. It's a different type of thing. And she says she was using it for an example of doing the right job as a fast food, which is, yeah, that's what we gathered on there. You know what we haven't done yet, though? I'm still giving away something I can. Cole Orton, by the way, still owe you this wonderful water bottle, but you have to contact me. I contacted you on Twitter, but you can also send an email to support@earshouldervoice.com. And I will also get that information out to you. But we're giving away this water bottle again. If you chatted during this broadcast at all, you are eligible for the water bottle. So
Oh, water bottles. That's a hot item right now.
it is. Everybody seems to like the water bottle. Probably because it's summer. It makes sense. I mean, the sweaters aren't going over too well right now.
Yeah.
So let's find out. Let's find out. I gotta find it here. Okay, there we are. All right, let's find out who is going to win this. We have 8 people on here who chatted during this broadcast. So let's find out. Jan is hoping it is me. And I hope it's you too. Let's find out. Drum roll. We don't have Gabe for the drum roll. Oh, and Jan, it was you. You get yourself a water bottle. Congratulations. You actually won it. Congratulations, Jan.
Third time's a charm.
That's right, it is. So, Jan, you know what you got to do. You got to send an email to support@earshouldervoice with your address on it, and we will definitely send that out to you.
This is
Congratulations.
my fancy water bottle.
Or I can also contact you at some point to get it. So I wanted to get that away because we hadn't done it yet. Nice job, Jan. Hunter won last week, and Cole Orton, I still got to get yours out to you, and I'm looking forward to doing that. Because we want you to broadcast for us, too. We love this, Your Shoulder Voice. And we're always looking for new people here, too. So if you ever want to be a panelist and discuss things with our panel, you can always be on and be a recurring guest. That's good. Steve was just a call-in, and we decided to keep him because that's what we do sometimes. Thank you for being here, Steve. But last thing I want to really discuss is something that I've said a lot, and I don't know how many people have ever watched Bill Maher. The Real Time with Bill Maher or anything like that. He does an HBO show on Sundays. He's not for everybody. He's a little more fair than a lot of people give him credit for, but he's funny too. But he brought something I bring up a lot, and that is the difference between progress or understanding and seeing progress versus fighting for progress. And I think that's the situation a lot of us are still in these days when it comes to things like equality. Being Pride Month right now, being Juneteenth coming up, all these other things, I thought it was a good idea to bring up where the fights are coming from. We spend so much time fighting for rights that we forget where we once were. We forget we're fighting for, or the gays are fighting for rights for different things, and they forget how progressive we've become versus 25 years ago. Blacks are fighting for rights. Well, we got a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. They still have rights. Blacks, gays, everybody, minorities still have rights to come. But we're so busy arguing, telling people, we did this on our racism show as well, telling people how wrong they are, that we forget to look at how much progress they've made in life. And that also goes back to my other comment, is you don't know where people are in life. And I wanted to bring it up because, like I said, it's this month. This month is a big month for all that. From patriotism to Blacks Juneteenth and for gay pride and all that. Thank you, Jan. Jan said she sent her address on there. Do you think there's ever a time we're going to be able to look back and say, look how far we've come, instead of how far we could be?
I don't think so.
Why?
Because going back to the whole we like to hate everything and complain about everything, and it's one of those things, right? I mean, unfortunately, people are very selfish. right?
Not only that, some people don't like to go back because they don't want to look at their mistakes.
Right.
You know,
But they fail to
don't
see
wanna
their
look-
victories.
Right.
And that's, I feel like people will always want more, right? And there's a lot of things that oftentimes they're blinded by how close they are to a certain situation, right?
Yes.
And they can't see the big picture, like you're saying, and they don't have the ability to take a step back and go, well, we've come this far and we're on the right step. But because it's still so close and it's right there, and it's, they're not at fault for being so close to that issue, but because these issues are so close to people, they don't have the ability to take a step back and see the big picture. And that's just my fear. I don't see that changing anytime soon, because there's a few people that I talk to
Might also
that
depend on how.
Go ahead, Steve.
Huh.
Steve.
Hello.
It might also depend on how long you've been on the earth, because the older you are, the more change you've seen. If you're a young kid, then what you know now is sort of what you always have known.
I brought up
Well, yeah, but-
our colorless show, colorless world dealing with racism. I brought that exact thing up. I said, you look at a lot of the older people. That was specifically more the black people we were talking about. I said, you look at a lot of the older black people out there. They don't have a problem with things because they've lived and they've seen the progress. And the younger generation, Bill Maher, and I brought him up because he said something very important at the end of the show that made sense. He said, to all the young people out there, the world existed before you did. They didn't see everything that has come up. Most of them were never born without a phone, without a portable mobile phone. They were never born in a world where they were denied a lot of these rights. They have not legally lived in a world where gay marriage was illegal. And they're not seeing the world before it. And compared to what we had in the 50s and 60s, like Bill, you've seen, you're older than anyone on the panel. I don't want to say how old, but you're older than anyone here. You've seen a lot more
Older than
change,
dirt.
don't you think? But you've seen a lot more change.
A lot of changes. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things change, and I know, I'm not saying there's not room for more change, because there always is. There's always going to be room for change. I really didn't like change in certain areas because I was set in my ways. I didn't want change. I didn't want to change in my job or that. But it's going to happen whether I want it or not, because the world goes on. Time moves forward. It doesn't go backwards. So
No.
you either enjoy the ride or you stay where you're at and bitch.
And you've got to reflect on the past too and realize what we have
Right.
done. And that really affects everything from the minimum wage argument we had to the trusting, to the media, to politics, to divides, to where we are and where we've been. You have to look in the past. We've made great strides in this world. We live in a far better society than we did when I was a kid. As a whole, as far as people over the last 10 years, I think they've taken a step backwards because they've all decided to play a game that we started to try to fix 50, 60 years ago. And we made progress fixing this
Yeah,
that many years ago.
There's things today that people talk. There's things today that people talk about that back when I was a kid, it was swept under the rug. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody
Yeah.
wanted to deal with it. Nobody even wanted to acknowledge it.
I agree. But it's not now. It's been brought in the open. And these people are often arguing this I'm going to bring it up, and I hate to say it, I don't want to lose anybody on here, but this white privilege bullshit and all that. Most of us are not in that group. Not that we don't experience a basic white privilege, which I get what they're saying with that argument, but we understand it. We see the struggles people have been through. We are trying to work with you. We have learned, we have been educated, and people are still fighting like we don't know this. There are
Well-
groups that need improvement, but not all of them. You have to understand the other side of the coin.
That goes back to earlier when we were talking, right? You can talk about and bring up this white privilege, but what are we supposed to do about that? How do we
Right.
fix it? No one ever talks about how to fix it, right?
Exactly.
And the biggest thing that I see when white privilege is talked about, it's more so of an economic stance, right?
Yes.
If you really look at the main core issues, right, about like way of life in that, it's rich and poor, wealthy and not wealthy, because you've got areas that are predominantly white that they don't have a lot of money, and they are essentially the same as an area with predominantly black people that don't have a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a color thing at that point as far as privilege is concerned, right?
Yeah.
So it's not, it doesn't have to be a color thing, and that's where like sometimes you got to take a step back and look and see that it's not what it always seems to be.
That's what I said. If you just look back to the past, realize that there's a lot of us trying to make the world a better place, more than you realize. But the ones that are making their voices heard so loud that are causing such a hate and anger are the media. I will agree with that. It's the media bringing these voices out. But many of us really feel for everybody in all positions and agree with them. Jan says when the young ones get our age, they'll be shaking their heads like we are now, and they absolutely will.
Of course.
It's the circle. Carry on, Wayward Son, there will be peace when we are done. Great song. I love me, Little Kansas. Absolutely. And Dark Sage, it's been a while. Good to see you. Have an interesting question for the panel, as you always do, and I like that. It's not about the current topic you were speaking, but it's relevant in society. We are talking about things relevant to society, so shoot. And a thumbs up from Jan on there. So we're going to take Dark Sage's question. After that, we'll probably be pretty much getting ready to cut this for a close on there. But any other thoughts on anything we've discussed right now that you want to bring up? Bill disappeared for a minute. We'll get him out of there. There we go. All right. Any other thoughts or stuff you want to share? All right.
Me?
That was really intriguing.
Me?
Anybody?
Oh,
Steve? Anthony? Hidden Bill?
There's a shawarma place.
Okay.
Go ahead, Steve.
You were talking earlier, you said something about caregivers earlier, and I was thinking there's always going to be a need for caregivers.
There are, but there's going to be a point. Actually, awesome point. Awesome point. Because we're talking about, like, they were talking about robots taking over and stuff. Well, the medical field's going to do that too. The things you're giving caregiving for are going to disappear too. Because we're going to find cures.
be right.
We're going to find fixes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
just look at the scan technology.
yes. And how they can discover things like that. Very, very well said, actually. I'm waiting on Dark Sage's question here before we continue. But that's
But there's
the
a
point.
shawarma place.
Tell me about the shawarma place.
Oh man. I've had it like 4 times already. I've only been here since Monday. Super good, super cheap. Well, I think it's cheap. You get shawarma and some fries and a can of pop for like 9 something.
Is that like
US.
Canadian? Oh, U.S.?
Yeah, I was trying to do the
Like-
quick conversion. It's 11.70 Canadian.
All right.
But
We're going to pretty much... Jan says tech can't change diapers. A good compassion. Want to put money on that one?
oh yes, the compassion maybe.
Compassion's a little different. Compassion will take work, but it can change diapers.
Oh yeah.
It can. And you know what? Eventually, they're going to learn. Tech is going to allow for compassion. It's going to give people someone to talk to. People with no one else around.
Well, just
It's
look at
advancing.
Siri,
Yeah.
right? Siri and Alexa, they've come so far nowadays.
You know, you can include Google. Just saying.
Hey Google, turn off my lights. Oh, you got headphones in. Damn it.
I'm smarter than that.
All
right, so
I don't think it would ever be I don't think it will ever be at the same level as human compassion. Like a machine can imitate it, but can a machine have real compassion? I don't think so.
I actually disagree with that. I do believe we'll hit that. People, what we see now was inconceivable even 15 years ago. the stuff like Siri and Google, like you were saying, and all that. That's, by the way, you probably just turned off a whole bunch of other people's lights. It wasn't me. I just want to let you know. I was like,
Whoops.
but that control, getting Google or Siri or Alexa to understand what you're saying in a regular phrase, is all technology that's totally been changing around. The way they're able to read, it may be far off, and maybe not fully within our lifetime, but I believe we're going to see some damn close stuff in our lifetime.
Well, and just like, I mean, I'm sure some people who have to be compassionate, they're not being genuinely compassionate,
Yeah.
right? They're essentially running on a script. So
Yeah, 'cause
what
we
makes
are.
that any different than a robot? Because I'm sure sometimes you have someone talking to you, and you've got your own stuff going on, so you have to flip a switch and go,
figured
I
it
have
out.
to be compassionate right now. And this is what I need to do to be compassionate. And then your brain tells you what to say, and
Just so you know, though, I wish it wasn't the end of the show, but I figured out what your mic problem is. Your beard is scraping against it continuously, and that's what's bringing you in and out.
oh, is this better?
Yeah. Just you were doing like,
My
oh my god,
microphone
this is
is
beer scraping. Whoa.
I got an update on my
microphone is actually
daughter.
on my camera, though.
Huh? What was that, Steve?
My microphone is actually on my camera. It's
Oh, I
not
was talking
on the
to
table.
Anthony.
Oh,
I was talking to
okay.
Steve. You
You
don't
have
even
a
have a beard. Clearly, I was only talking to one person here. I was like,
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that.
oh no, you're fine. You're fine. What were you gonna say, Bill? Before we close it out, I haven't seen Cole Orton's
I
comment
got
yet.
an update on my daughter. She said
Or
that
not Gordon.
they're suspecting
Sage.
she had a Bell's palsy episode or a mini stroke. But they're not going to know for 24 to 48 hours.
Well, definitely prayers to her, and I hope she gets out of that. Okay, and I'm sure she will. I'm sure they're gonna keep positive thoughts with you, Bill, on that 100%. It is sad that sometimes that the vaccine can set things like that off, and just like COVID can set things off in other people too. It's really sad how it hits some and doesn't affect others. And I hate to find out that one of your relatives is one of them.
Well, no, but that's why everyone needs to make an informed decision for themselves, and everyone
agree.
else needs to understand that everyone has their own choices and everyone lives their own lives. And it's not always your way or the highway.
There she
Well, I
is. She's
still
gonna
respect
damn-
my
we love
daughter's
you.
choice. You know, I'm just sorry that it had to happen.
Oh,
but
we
I
know.
still
Oh, of
respect her
course.
choice.
No, of
No.
course.
But
We're
no,
just saying
it's
in
more like
general.
the biggest thing was not about you respecting. I mean, it's good that what he said to respect her choice, but she made her own informed decision on that, and that is let people do that, and that takes us full circle back. I didn't get the question from Dark Sage. If you ask it while I'm going through the ending, I will still address it. Drina, glad you came in for the end. Always good to see you. We did miss you. We look forward to seeing you again. Coming up on our next show, we're back to our topic shows starting this Wednesday. And it is Rage Lashing Out in Anger. It's going to be June 16th. That's a show. It's going to be deep for a lot of people. People who can't control their anger sometimes hurt from inanimate objects to the ones they love. And ultimately, they hurt themselves from pent up emotions. And how do you control it? And how do you keep people safe that you care about and love so much? We're going to discuss all that on Wednesday. Don't forget you can chat anytime with Your Shoulder Voice by either going to our website, which is a social network, and you are automatically connected to all of our shoulders. And you can post anonymously on there too, and people will answer your questions about anything you have. If you're dealing with an issue, we want to become a network of people who like to help and people that suffer from issues as well and just need somebody to talk to, because that's ultimately what we're all here for. And we can all feel a little better about ourselves if we just have someone else in our lives to talk to. Like, share, subscribe, and follow Your Shoulder Voice, of course, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. I got them all. Again, I'm doing so good at this. It's only been 8 months. I'm almost got it down pat. But other than that, it's been a good show. I appreciate everybody being here. Again, Dark Sage, if you ask your question when we come back for the after show, I will still answer it. But thank you again for being here. Anthony, absolute pleasure. Was not sure you were going to be able to make it. Very glad you did, all the way from
Close call.
the far, a whole nother country here. So we
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Far away land.
Even though you're like 30 miles away, I think. I was like,
Less than that, most likely.
yeah. So on there. Bill, absolute pleasure. I know you're going to be on Wednesday's show. We look forward to that with you. because I know you've got a lot of input in that situation. So I'm very much looking forward to talking to you. Steve, nice of you to call in. We love getting call-ins, surprise guests on here. Actually, very happy to have you on. Love to hear what you had to say as well. I hope you had a good time and a good first show.
Yes, I did. Thank you, guys.
Very glad to have you. Congratulations to Jan. And most of all, I want to thank our chat and our panel. Again, we bring up lots of topics, especially on an open forum, to talk about. But the most important thing is you. So anything you have to say, if you just need your voice to be heard, that's what we're here for. You'll never, ever be judged on this show unless you're Bill. Bill the King, Bill, not you, Bill. We don't judge. Okay, most of the time you won't be judged. And but no, we'll never judge you. We care about what you have to say because a lot of people are going through the same things. They just don't talk about it. And when you have somebody there, you will improve the quality of not only your life, but the people around you and their lives as well. And that's what we're here for. So we look forward to seeing you on every show. You all have a great night. Thank you for joining us again here at Ear Shoulder Voice. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, Keith Litton here for Ear Shoulder Voice. While you're here, why don't you like, share, subscribe, and follow so you can be notified of all our new broadcasts that we're bringing to you live every week and live chat during the show. You can also head on over to www.earshouldervoice.com, find out more information, suggest topics you'd like to see our panel discuss, and even apply to be a guest panelist yourself. Well, I like this. This was nice. This was good. This was fun. I was like, this was deep. Am I really
It was
that way
very
right now?
interesting. I found it.
Oh, it was. It was very interesting. Lots of jump to topics. I wanted to bring that end one in, but it's a little too late to do it. I just wanted to. Because I keep pushing shit off and forgetting about it.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just in a mood. I think I've been in a mood the last week or two, really. I'm like,
Yeah. It's probably because you knew I was leaving,
it made me sad.
and I'm gone. I'm here.
Makes me more sad, but you're.
But I'm not there.
I can't reach you, Anthony. Nothing. I just swipe and you're
I
not.
feel
there.
like that at every
I was on
virtual
the water
meeting.
today, and I thought about having someone from the Michigan side come swoop
That's it.
in on my boat.
Sad thing is, Bill, I feel about that at every real life meeting. I still can't reach him. It was good having you on here.
I'm
glad
gonna
you
go
took time.
finish cutting the. I'm gonna go finish cutting the grass before it gets dark, and I'll see you Wednesday.
All right, sounds
All right,
good.
Bill.
We'll see you
Have a
then,
good
Bill.
one.
Okay, bye bye.
And then there were two.
Yes, sir.
Got
Can
quiet.
you hear me with this up here?
Yeah, we're not getting the. I wish it wasn't the end of the show when I figured that out. I'm like, oh my god, his beard is
I probably
muffling
should've-
and scratching the mic.
Yeah, I should have thought of that, but oh well.
I should have thought about it too because you even pointed out you were wearing that at the beginning and I didn't even think about it.
That's what happens when the beard,
That's a beard. That's why I got rid of. I didn't really get rid of mine. I got to get rid of more of it. That's why I
I
keep it
can't.
short though.
Can you picture me without a beard?
I have a feeling I wouldn't even recognize you.
No, I wouldn't recognize me.
I don't think. I actually don't know. Like you put a mask on or off, it never made a difference because it was still covered.
Well, yeah.
So like, that's why it's easy to recognize you with a mask on. But yeah, if you shaved, I don't think I would even know who you were.
No. And there's
should
no
do
color
that
difference
sometime.
Then, right?
Yeah,
You
but
gotta
usually have a
the-
hat
the
on.
gradient.
I actually haven't had a hat in a while.
Ever since I've had this mop of hair up here, it's too hot with a hat.
That's why I eventually cut all my hair and shit. It
Yeah,
was too much.
get
I couldn't
that.
swim. I didn't like wearing hats. And in the summer, in the winter, I freaking love it.
Oh yeah, insulation for days.
Yeah, but in the summer, I just can't anymore. It's just too much. But I don't know. I don't know. Either way, your beard fucked up your mic.